Welcome to Gone Fishin'. Today, your hosts Bob Kirkpatrick and TJ Schwanke fish the Premier's Walleye Cup in Nipawin, Saskatchewan.
Hi, welcome to Gone Fishin'. I'm TJ Schwanke.
And I'm Bob Kirkpatrick. We've just spent 3 days at Nipawin at the Premier's Cup Walleye Tournament. We're going to take you through and show you how a walleye tournament's run these days. Things have improved greatly. This is a catch and release tournament. We've talked to a lot of guys on the water. We fish the tournament ourselves, and we're just going to show you some of the highlights and what goes on at a walleye tournament.
Stay with us for some hot tournament action. Okay, it's the day before the tournament, and we're doing what's called pre-fish, and what we're doing is actually practicing. We're establishing techniques. We're looking to find areas where the fish are. So Donnie's just got one here. By the way, this is my partner, Don Warner. He's going to be fishing the tournament with me. And I'll just grab this fish here.
Yeah, it looks like it's about a 20-incher, eh? Good slot fish.
Now this tournament, it's got a rule where you can catch 2 fish each day over 24 inches. And the other 4 fish have to be under 24. So, well, he's active. And this would be what we call a good slot fish, so the fish under 24 inches. So fish like this, we'll just put them on the board here. We have this bumper board. You see how long fish actually are. And he's 20.5 inches, which is roughly 3.5 pounds. So that's a pretty good fish. We'd probably tag him if this was tournament day as one of our fish under 24 inches. But since it isn't, we'll get him back in the water and we're going to keep doing some fishing and see what's working. Basically what we do when we're pre-fishing a tournament is a little different than when you actually fish the tournament. We want to cover a lot of water, establish where the fish are, maybe if one spot's holding bigger fish than another. So that's what we're doing. And we usually use a fairly fast presentation. We just want to go through a spot quickly, pick up the active fish if that'll work. Now if we have to get more subtle, we'll do it. But if we can pick up the active fish and decide that yes, this spot does hold big fish, what depth they're at, what they're taking, we'll get out of there. Now there's no sense sitting on a spot for 3 or 4 days of pre-fishing, catching all the fish out of it and showing the other competitors where all the fish are. So basically what we'll do is catch that one fish and get out of there. We know we may hit it at different times throughout the day or different times each day, but just to know when the fish are on and when they're not. Now you'll see a lot of boats sitting on some of the popular spots for 3 or 4 days, and basically what it does is it actually wears out that spot. You catch all the fish, and it just sees so much pressure that those fish will actually quit biting. So what was a great spot on Monday, by the time tournament time comes around, there'll be no fish there. So you want to find the fish, establish what they're biting on, what depth they're at, then get out of there and look for new spots. I like to have 10 or 12 spots I can hit during a tournament. If we hit one, there's no fish, I know we can go to another and another and another. And we can just keep hitting spots until we find active fish. There's always active fish somewhere on the lake. There's never time when the fish aren't biting. You're just fishing the wrong fish if you think the fish aren't biting. So that's what you got to do, is find the active fish. So that's why it's important to spend several days pre-fishing and find several spots that you can hit during the tournament hours.
And we've been pre-fishing the Premier's Cup here in Nipawin for the last couple of days. And this is my tournament partner, Dave Deutscher from Saskatchewan. And Dave and I have been fishing together for the last 3 years, and he's an excellent partner. Anyway, we're down near the end of the river where it starts to open up into the lake, fishing on some of the flats. There's lots of little fish in here and a few big ones. We're just running jigs right now. We had gone through here earlier with bouncers and spinners, tried to pick up some of the active fish. We know they're in here, so we're slowing down. We're just going to work a whole bunch of different areas during this pre-fish and not sit on any one spot for too long. It's kind of the idea. Oh, I got one going here now. Kind of the idea is to check out a whole bunch of spots, run through them quickly, and determine what's there for fish. Now the way the tournament runs, oh, there's one. There's lots of small fish like this. We're catching all kinds of fish this size. Now, the way the tournament works is we're allowed 6 fish a day between us, and they have a size limit. There's only 2 a day can be over 24 inches, and here a 24-inch fish is about 5 pounds. Now, there's been some huge fish caught during practice from some of the different teams, and Dave's been here for a week, and you caught lots of good fish earlier on in the week, didn't you?
Yeah, there's been a lot of nice fish coming out all week. It's been slowing down a little bit now. I think the boat pressure's starting to get to them. So that's why we've moved away a little bit from the main crowd. Although you can see there's still a lot of boats fishing this area too.
Yeah, there's 160 boats in the tournament, and the boundaries go out for quite a ways, but this area of the river seems to be getting the most pressure. There's about a 5 or 6 mile stretch here that gets most of the boat pressure. Now, as I was saying, the tournament, we're allowed 2 fish per day over 24 inches, and that's about 5 pounds here. And there has been quite a few 9, 10, 11 pounders caught. So if you're really lucky and fortunate enough to get 2 of those each day, I don't know, I'm guessing that the weights could be up around the 55, 60 pound range to win this thing. That's just my guess. Things have changed. A lot of boat pressures move the fish around, and they're not quite as active as they were a week ago, but still every day someone's getting a couple of good ones. Now, one real important tool that we do use in a tournament is a measure board, and this is a real good one. Bump the nose of the fish up against the board here, and it'll tell you exactly the length. And just below the length, the guys that designed this board, they added the approximate weights. So you can get a pretty good idea of what you've got for poundage without actually weighing the fish. And it's quite accurate. In general, it's quite accurate. So here we've got a 24-inch fish, weighs 5.12 pounds, and that's close. That's sometimes you'll get a little chunkier fish. The ideal situation here is to get 2 fish over 24 inches, and then try and get a bunch of fish in the 23 to 24-inch range. They can be close to 5 pounds in that range. And that's what we're looking for when we're pre-fishing. We're checking areas out to try and catch what they call slot fish. And that's the fish that fall in between the 15-inch, which is the minimum length we can have, and the 24-inch minimum, or maximum. And the closer to the 24, of course, the more weight you're going to have. So the ideal situation is catch 2 big fish over 24, and then try and catch some in the 23, 24-inch range. You know, one of the requirements for this tournament, and any tournament that we fish, they're catch and release tournaments. So you have to have a method of keeping your fish alive, and once they're weighed or measured, however the tournament works, they're all released back into the lake, or any of the healthy fish are released back in the lake. The idea is to have a very high success rate on the release. So all our boats are equipped with live wells. Now this particular boat, I have 2 live wells, one in the front and one in the back, and they both have an aerator as well, so I can pump fresh water in from the lake, or if I'm in a situation or running down the lake where I can't be pumping fresh water in, I can aerate the water that's in there, and that oxygenates it and helps these fish stay alive. And we put one in the live well here just to show you. And they're quite big live wells in this boat, so it can handle quite a few fish. Now, this fish has been in here for a little while, and he's quite healthy. We're going to let him go since it's still pre-fish, and we're just looking for some good sized ones. But I'll just show you an idea of how this measure board works that we talked about earlier. Okay, this fish is just bump his nose up to the front, and he's approximately 20 inches long. That's just under 3 pounds, which in some tournaments would be real nice to get. Now, we know that there's a lot bigger fish in this river. There's a lot of fish in that 22 to 24-inch range. So early in the tournament, we'd probably let one like this go. Depends how our day goes, and that's what we're trying to establish when we're out here pre-fishing, what size of fish we're capable of catching. We're catching all kinds of real small 7, 8, 9-inch fish, which ensures that the fishery is going to be good for a long time to come. There's going to be a lot of fish in here for a lot of years.
Well, as you can see, we're downtown Nipawin. We're on Main Street. And what we're doing here is we parked the boat in front of one of the local businesses, and several other of the competitors in the tournament have done the same, and it's just kind of a meet the public thing. We've had a lot of people stopping by, asking about the boats, asking about the tournaments, and this turns out good for everyone. The sponsors like it, the town likes it, and it's very informative for the people around here. They find out what's happening at the tournament, we talk fishing, we talk about the new boats. Now right after, here in a few minutes, we're going to have a parade right down Main Street, and I was really surprised. They did this parade last year, and both sides of the street were just lined with people. They were all interested in looking at the new boats, and they just wanted to see what's going on. This is a big event in Nipawin, and the whole town gets in behind it.
The entire town of Nipawin shows up to watch the boats parade down Main Street. Rarely are spectators treated to such a display of the newest in fishing boat technology. From the 14-foot aluminum runabout to the $30,000 high-tech fishing machines, they're all here on display. The evening prior to the tournament, anglers attend a banquet at the Evergreen Center. Here the rules are reviewed and local celebrities provide some comic relief.
He's not always that nice, though. I know he was out where he lives in Saskatchewan. There's a guy coming through town, Big Mike was in this bar, and the guy comes in, he says, boy, that Brian Mulroney is a horse's butt, isn't he? Mike goes over to him and just smacks him. And the guy says, geez, I'm sorry, I didn't realize this was Mulroney country. He says, Mulroney country, hell, this is horse country.
I've been round and shiners, searching with depth finders, trying to get a big one on my line. Cast them out, get them in, reel them out, bait them out, bait them out, cast them out, walleye. Cut them up, fry them out, let them live, let them loose, get them up, fry them up, walleye. Keep moving, 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 though they're disapproving. Find out where they're schooling, walleye. My heart's contemplating a big pick that's a-waiting, waiting at the end of my line. Don't try to understand them, just set that hook and land them. Soon we'll be listening to 'em fry. Cast 'em out, bait 'em up, reel 'em in, get 'em in, bait 'em up, wall 'em out, walleye. Cast 'em up, cut 'em up, fry 'em up, let 'em loose, turn 'em in, fry 'em up, walleye.
Stay tuned as the anglers begin day one of the Premier's Walleye Cup. Who'll take home over $5,000 in cash and prizes? Do you have any questions or comments on Gone Fishin'? If you do, we'd love to hear from you. Send your comments to Gone Fishin', care of Box 421, Cabri, Saskatchewan, SONOJO, or fax Gone Fishin' at 306-587-2603. Anglers rise early and ensure all gear and tackle are loaded in the boat. Tension runs high as anglers plan the day's strategy. Before launching, each boat is inspected by an official and the tags are turned over to the team captain. Once the boat is in the water and team members are aboard, there's no returning to shore until the day's fishing is done. As the starter waves the green flag, the first flight of boats are on their way down the river. Each team confident that they're heading for the winning spot. The roar of the high-powered outboards is deafening. 2 more flights of boats are yet to come. The sooner the anglers arrive at their spot, the more valuable angling time they'll have.
Well, here we are, first day of the tournament. As you can see, the popular spots are pretty crowded already. We've been on the water for about an hour and a half and picked up quite a few small fish, and we tagged one already, about a 21-inch fish. But during pre-fish, we got quite a few nice-sized fish out of here, and we're hoping it wouldn't be quite as crowded. Haven't seen a lot of fish caught, a lot of big ones, lots of small ones. We ran through here quite fast first thing this morning with bouncers and blades and then crankbaits, just trying to pick up the active fish. Didn't have a lot of success, so we've slowed down now. We're starting to get a little more action. But looks like it's going to be a real hot day, and I don't know what's going to happen throughout the day. It could really change a lot.
We hit a big fish spot first thing this morning and banged a whole bunch of fish in the 17, 18, 19-inch range. There's one now. And we decided not to tag any of them because we were catching a lot of fish. And I'm hoping it wasn't a mistake now because the fishing has really slowed down. A lot of this size now, but these aren't going to win the tournament for us. So we're going to just keep going at it, see if we can catch some bigger fish. And hopefully we'll know by the end of the day whether we made a mistake or not.
The story seems to be the same all over the river.
Lots of fish, nothing big.
Been in this area all morning, or?
Lots of 15-inch stuff.
What are you making out this morning?
Well, we're catching lots of fish, but we haven't got crazy enough to tag anything yet.
Any kind of size, or?
About 17 and a half inches.
Even river guide and last year's second place finisher Gary Debian is having troubles.
Great day.
What are you making out this morning?
Oh, lots of little ones, but nothing that warrants tagging. Got one in the well there, but that was just to break the monotony. We're looking for some decent ones. We've been throwing back up to 2 pounds.
But as the fish begin to come into the weigh scale, the story unfolds. 1990 champion Dave Heath has a heavy basket.
How was it?
Not bad. Got one good one in here, and a couple more in that one.
Fine fish, no penalties.
1991 champions Wade Lag and Spider Johnson also come in with good weight and share some day one techniques.
What were you using last year? What kind of techniques did you use to win this?
We believe in pretty basic techniques. Spinner blades and a lot of times a bottom walker, and we'd like to use this basic boat control is where we try to get our advantages. And we learned on a hard lake, Lake Sakakawea in Garrison. It's a wind-blowing, wind-swept lake, not many trees. You have to have a lot of good boat control, and I guess that kind of helps us out here.
Well, I know that you probably have a few secret techniques that you don't want to share until after tomorrow when this is over, but you're going to plan on taking that cup back to North Dakota again this year?
Well, we always like to hope that. We're within striking distance. We don't have too much of an extended lead on us. Right now, I guess it's about 6 pounds, roughly. We're kind of happy to see it stay there. I think basically we're going to do the same thing we did last year, the same thing this year, and hopefully we can come out on top.
But it is a Saskatoon team that's leading after day one.
We've got the leaders after the first day here, Garth McLean and Clarence Neufeld. Guys, what was your weight today? 29 something?
28.47.
Wow. What were your 2 big fish?
Biggest one was 8.03 and the other one was in the 7.5 pound range.
Do you have any secrets you want to share this early in the tournament, or are you going to hold off until tomorrow?
Well, really, it was a real mixture of things that we tried today. We didn't just stick with one thing. We were going both blades and jigs, so just depends on the water.
You guys caught what we call the slot fish here, the fish under 24 inches. I hear you got a big one of those today.
We had one that was about 23 7/8. I'm not sure what it weighed, but
I heard it was close to 6 pounds.
Perfect slot fish.
That's unreal.
Those are hard to come by. We had one like that. Unfortunately, we didn't have anything else to go with it. So, anything you can share with us about tomorrow, or you're hanging on to the lead now, and it looks pretty good.
Well, we're going to try. I think the key will be the 4 slot fish. The better they are, the better it'll be.
It'd kind of be nice to see this cup stay in Saskatchewan again. It's been a while.
There's a nice fish.
Big fish.
As the weights are being tallied, Bob and TJ are fortunate enough to talk with top professionals Gary Parsons and Keith Cavallas.
I'm standing here with one of the best walleye fishermen in North America, Keith Cavallas. Keith, you've fished professional walleye tournaments all over North America, and rivers are your specialty, and so is jigging. You're probably the best jig fisherman there is.
That's gracious of you. Yeah, well, I fish all over. I was lucky enough to learn how to fish walleyes on a river. I actually learned down on the Mississippi River down in Minnesota. So fishing a river is fairly second nature to me, and actually you've got a really excellent river right here, and I've had a lot of fun fishing it so far.
So you're using some of those jig techniques that we might not be using so much here?
Yeah, I think looking around, the main thing that we're probably doing a little different out here is staying more vertical jigging. A lot of the people here are doing a lot of the dragging techniques, the bottom bouncers and spinners, maybe some of the Lindy rigs, or just dragging their jigs. And what we've seen a lot of times in other rivers around, well, not only Canada, but in the U.S., is a lot of times we can go in and vertical jig and feel the fish a little bit better. The only problem we got here is that it's such a good fishery that a lot of other methods work, and it's probably more important to be in the right place here than it is necessarily to have the best technique that you can have.
Well, and there's a lot of small fish here too, so you're continuously getting bit off all the time.
It actually is a lot of fun because we're catching anywhere from 150 to 200 fish a day. throwing them back right and left. So we used to think that Red Wing down on the Mississippi was one of the best rivers that we had ever seen. This one by far overshadows that. So not only that, but you'll go through hundreds of these little fish, and all of a sudden, boom, you almost break your elbow on one of the big fish here. So it's a really an excellent river, probably the best river I've ever fished.
Well, I know there's a lot of those big fish mixed in with the small ones. That's kind of strange. You'd think they'd be feeding on them. You can go and catch 26-inch fish, and all of a sudden 6-pounders there.
Well, actually on a river, a lot of times you'll see that, though, because the fish relate to certain things in the current or certain things on the bottom that we might not even be able to see, and what's there to eat for the big ones is also good for the little ones. Now, a lot of times when you get the really big ones, that's when the little dinky ones go, but it's pretty hard for even a 7-8 pound walleye to eat a 15-incher. So we'll catch more on a river than anywhere. You'll catch that mixture of fish as compared to finding a school of, some real big ones compared to the little dinky ones.
Gary Parsons, undoubtedly one of North America's top tournament fishermen, and they come up to Nipawin. I guess this is the first Canadian tournament you've been to, isn't it, Gary?
Yes, it is. It's the first time Keith and I have been to Canada for a tournament. We've fished, some of the systems up here before, but we're having a good time. We're actually going to take 2 tournaments in a couple of weeks, so we're having fun.
So what do you think of the fishery here at Nipawin?
It's good. It's good. It's a great river fishery. We have not had a chance to get out into the lake. Haven't had enough time, but it looks like a fabulous fishery all the way around. We're hearing rumors of good fish in the lake, too, so we're going to come back this fall, I think, and fish here. It's supposed to have a good big fish fishery, and we're looking forward to it.
It's incredible. And these guys probably fish more tournaments than anyone around. And I guess, what do you see the future of tournament fishing being in North America?
Well, in the last 10 years, I've fished, I would say, 170 events, which is a lot of tournaments. And I've seen the changes through the years. Back in the early 80s, everybody was struggling to find out what a tournament was all about, and we went through a lot of growing pains in the United States. Things have come a long way. We're seeing this new Pro-Am format that Cabela's in Fisherman has just come out with as being the most popular format that we've ever seen before, and it was a format that a couple of us, Gary Roach, Mike McClellan, and myself, pretty much brought it to the forefront and pushed Cabela's and in Fisherman real hard for this format, telling those people that it would work, that we would get good amateurs and everybody would learn from that type of a format, and it has been just unbelievably successful. So I think that you're going to see more of these Pro-Am events occur, and you guys will probably see it a lot in Canada too. The one thing I am noticing up here, really, it's kind of like the States were 2 years ago. You guys told me it would be like the States were 5 years ago, but that's not the case. It's more like the States were 2 years ago, and there's more interest in tournaments up here by a larger percentage of your fishing people than there is in the States. I think you just have more fishermen in Canada per capita. The average person here, the average family, has some part of fishing in their lifestyle, whereas in the United States we don't necessarily have that. So I think up here it's got a fantastic future, and I would see more participation from your people.
Do you have any questions or comments on Gone Fishin'? If you do, we'd love to hear from you. Send your comments to Gone Fishin', care of Box 421, Cabri, Saskatchewan, SONOJO. Or fax Gone Fishin' at 306-587-2603. Well, that wraps up day 1 of the Premier's Walleye Cup. Join us next week for the exciting conclusion.
Get 'em in, reel 'em out, bait 'em out, bait 'em out, test 'em out, walleye. Cut 'em up, fry 'em out, let 'em live, let 'em loose, get 'em up.
Gone Fishin' would like to send out a special thanks to Kingfisher Inn, Paramark Confectionery,
Find out where they're schooling,
and Lakeland Leisure.
My heart's contemplating a big pick that's a-waiting, waiting at the end of my line. Don't try to understand them, just set that hook and land them. Soon we'll be listening to them fry. Cast them out, bait them up, reel them in, gut them in, bait them up, wall them out, walleye. Cast them up, cut them up, fry them up, let them loose, turn them in, fry them up, walleye.